Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the MotorBeam Project Car, the Maruti Baleno, and straight away we are going to be opening the engine bay of this beast. And there is the engine. Looks a little dirty, but you see there is a strut bar right there. In fact, this car has 5 strut braces. One is below here in the center. Yeah, like below the wipers, ekdam niche body mein. Obviously there's no insulation right there. This is a BMC air filter for better breathing, of course, and this is a NACA duct. What exactly is a NACA duct? I shall explain in a bit. Alright, so the engine bay looks nice, of course, because there is some space here. Now this is the Maruti which had one of the biggest engine bays. Now what is a NACA duct? What we wanted to do was the air filter needed to breathe better. How would it breathe better? Of course, we had to have a cold air intake. Now one option is to remove the light, but then night visibility would be poor, and of course it would take in water as well, and it created a lot of wind resistance. How do we draw in air without any wind resistance? Well, this is NACA duct. NACA is basically the organization which was the precursor to NASA. This is a low drag air intake. So it draws in air from here, and because we have put this net inside, it does not draw in water, it does not draw in even dust or mud, any of that sort. It just keeps the cabin cool enough. In fact, you will see all the sports cars have a NACA duct, and obviously fighter planes too. Now, of course, a lot has changed in terms of the design. We have a 3D printed mesh grille, which looks very rad indeed. These are the LED DRLs, which also convert into indicators. Fog lamps, this one is not working. I think there's some issue with the wiring. And the lights, which I don't like, honestly. The lights could have been more adventurous on the Baleno. I think that is the only issue with the Baleno. The old Baleno sedan was the lights. They were not adventurous at all, and night visibility is also not great. We've got a front splitter right there, and coming to the side, of course, this car has been painted in Nardo grey. The paint quality is exceptional. Now, all the work on this car has been done by DNO Motorsports. Meanwhile, there's a ball which is just going right there. Right now, cricket is being played. The wheels on this car are actually small. I had the option of going for 17 inches. I did not go for 17 inches. I retained 15 inches for the very reason that the wheels will not get damaged over bad potholes. 195/55/15 is the size of the tires. Yellow colored brake calipers. Custom MB hubcaps as well. The tire size is fine. I mean, it is overwhelmed obviously when you get on the throttle really aggressively because the wheels spin like mad. You obviously get side skirts as well. So yes, a lot of attention detail. The mirrors have been finished in black. So is the roof, again finished in black. But the color scheme on this car looks absolutely rad, phenomenal if I may. Coming to the rear, again, we have finished the brakes, the drums actually in yellow. Again, it looks kind of different. MB hubcaps here again. But you know what is the best thing is this rear spoiler. Now most people think that this rear spoiler is for aerodynamic efficiency. No, it is not. You know why? This rear spoiler is that when you take this car out during COVID, you can put your plates on this big fat rear spoiler and eat your food. Social distancing for the win. The tail lights have been finished black. We have blackened the tail lights. This is the exhaust of the car. Now, of course, it gets a flat underbody which you can see, and it gets a rear diffuser as well for aerodynamic purpose. Yeah, a flat underbody has been put on the car. You know why? So that aerodynamic efficiency improves. It just aids in high-speed stability and making the car slightly faster as well. Meanwhile, you have no rear camera or rear parking sensors. None of that bullshit. In fact, there is no badging also at the rear. Very clean rear end on this car. Now this car has got 5 strut bases. There's a strut bar behind. So there are 3 strut bases below. Yeah, front, mid and rear. And one in the hood and one behind there, behind the seat as well, which I will show you in a bit. Car looks really nice, really purposeful, and of course it doesn't feel rice at all because it looks very subtle. Let's get inside. Now I must agree or admit that there is not much space at the rear. This car is best for 2 people, which Maruti also knew. That's why there are no door pockets at the rear. Yeah, there are no door pockets at the rear, but nice door handle, nice finishing. Actually, you know what? This blue treatment is also fantastic. Seats obviously have been customized. You see the blue treatment and the blue stitching looks fantastic. No adjustable headrest. You see those speakers? Yeah, 2 6x9 speakers from Sony, and the strut bar I was talking about. There it is. There's a strut brace right behind the seat as well. Now all this is to improve the rigidity. You know what is lying below? There's a jumper cable right below my bag, because at times I don't drive the car for so long now. I need a jumper cable to get the battery pumped up. Getting inside, let me tell you, there is no space on offer as such. There is no leg room, there is no knee room either, and under tire support is also poor. Headroom is also not there actually. There is a handle to hold on to. There's a light placement in the center. This light does not work right now because it's gone for a vacation. Again, you've got a handle on the side. Window is actually large enough. Yeah, seat belts are fine. In fact, there's a center armrest. There are no cup holders in the center armrest. So yes, seat recline angle is good, but just space is not enough. Although, you know what, surprisingly, I sit more further ahead than Nurain. Nurain is intentionally put the seat behind just to show that there is no legroom on offer. There is plenty of legroom on offer if we remove the seat, of course, but we can't do that. Okay, I love the power window controls. Very unconventional, very different as well. Let's close the door. Yeah, close it with a proper thud. You know why? Because the doors have been damped as well. So damping has been done to reduce the vibration. You know what? Seatbelt also gets the height adjust function. Dashboard looks super duper awesome and sporty. And there's storage space below, inside. I mean, yeah, there's storage space inside. Okay, you can call them magazine holders or whatever you want to call them. Let me get out of the car and tell you that, you know what, the car is really low. So getting in and out can be a bit of a challenge. Not that you're going to be complaining about it because you're not going to be sitting in this car. Anyways, there's no keyless entry, there's no push button start, there's none of that bullshit. Everything is so raw, but I need to show you the underbody from here as well. You can see the underbody. It's a flat underbody. Yeah, this has been done for aerodynamic efficiency, of course. Now things are more subtle at the front. Not much to talk about as such. Seats feel really very nice, very comfy. Door pockets are super slim, like super slim door pockets. You can't keep much inside in the door pockets. That's kind of disappointing. And the power window controls are fine, but you know, at least they're different from what we've seen on the Swift, which has gone on almost every Maruti car. There's no dead pedal there, but there are switches here. You know what is this switch for? This is NOS. No, I'm kidding. This is the horn button has been shifted here. This is obviously for the LED DRL or the neon lights, underbody lights. So a lot of these features are there. Internally adjustable outside rear view mirrors. Back in the day in 2006, this car was launched in 2001 actually. And physical key goes to go inside. Height adjust function. So yes, very functional a car, very practical as well. Right now it's beeping because the lights are on. Let me do one thing. Let me get inside and turn on the vehicle. Okay, stop making this noise. Now it shuts. Here we're going to turn on the car. When the car turns on, you can listen to it. Okay, hear this. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it completely rose to life. To match the outside body color, what you have done is if you have given this treatment on the center console as well, sort of nardo gray, the dashboard has been painted. This MotorBeam perfume has been here since so long right now that doesn't smell anything at all. No auto dimming inside your view mirror. There's a mirror on the co-driver side, none of that on the driver side, although this is kind of folding, but there's a toll receipt holder there. That time there was no FASTag. This is obviously for the Bluetooth reception. Meanwhile, it gets a climate control air conditioning, an ashtray because smoking was cool back in the day, and of course a cigarette lighter as well. This storage space here where your phone actually fits. This Sparco gear lever actually improves the gear shift quality by 3.5%, and a lot of dummy buttons here. I don't know for what. Physical handbrake. And below the front center armrest, there is some amount of storage space. Actually, there's a cup holder inside. That's very unconventional, so to speak. Now, the steering wheel can only be adjusted in terms of height. This is a new steering wheel. It's very sporty. It says WRC, which improves the handling of the car. Custom MB logo in the center, and you've got this treatment to tell you where you're centered or not. Instrument cluster is very basic, and everything is obviously analog. No digital stuff happening here at all. Meanwhile, okay, we've got a new head unit here from Sony. It's a touchscreen. It's fantastic. You know why? Because this car is running component speakers at the front. Here are the tweeters. I showed you the rear speakers. It's got 2 amplifiers. One amplifier obviously powers the speakers. One amplifier powers the 2 subwoofers which are in the boot, which I will show you right now. Nurain, if you would be kind enough to play a song right away. It is so loud, even with all the doors closed. It is making so much noise on the outside. The music system is absolutely kick-ass. Of course, a complete Sony system, and you can feel the phenomenal audio quality as well. The wipers are a little bit off position. The wipers work decently well actually, but they're making noise because there's no water fluid. Okay, only one nozzle is working at the moment. Some amount of noise which is coming. Okay, that is kind of an irritating noise, to be really honest with you guys. However, you all care about how is it to drive, so let's get going straight away. All right, we're all set to go. Turning on the car. Rolls to life into first gear and off we go. Now first things first, let me tell you one interesting thing about this car. The old Baleno was actually very soft, but our project car is not soft at all because the team at DNO Motorsports, led of course by Omkar, ensured that the car has the necessary stiffness for great handling. So what they did is stripped off the car completely. They did weight reduction. We did some runs without the doors as well to see how it actually plays in terms of improving the power to weight ratio of the car. But most importantly, this car is running 5 freaking strut braces. Yes, that's right, 5 freaking strut braces. Okay, 1 in the hood, 3 below and 1 at the rear, just to make the car more rigid and stiff. And trust me, it makes a big fat difference here. A flat underbody is actually quite useful, but over bad speed breakers you have to be really careful because you can scrub the underbody. Drivability is really very good. It's fantastic the way this car is able to manage at low speeds because it feels very drivable, and the exhaust is tuned such that it doesn't feel really loud at low speeds, but once you whack open the throttle it becomes super duper loud. So you can see driving around town in the city, no problem at all. The steering is actually on the heavy side. Specifically at parking speeds it feels very heavy, but has a lot of feel as well. Some amount of vibrations can be felt, but it feels so much more refined and smoother than before. And especially the flat spots have been completely eliminated, which was the case earlier. You know why it had so many flat spots? Because Maruti doesn't do such a great job at tuning the engine back in the day. But still, the car had a lot of feel and feedback. Now when you launch this car, it absolutely sounds bonkers with a lot of wheel spin as well. You want to hear that wheel spin? Sure, I will make you hear that as well, but 6,500 RPM red line. And you know what, the top end is not the best in the car because this car has been tuned for low and mid-range performance. In that sense it performs flawlessly well. Obviously it's running custom headers, and the headers have also been given a heat wrap, so even if you put it on fire, no effect at all. That is the performance of the heat wrap. Now the C has actually replaced the Baleno. Between them obviously there was the SX4 as well. Now we're going to launch this car. Traction control off, launch control on, Sport Plus mode, revving the motor, and that's a lot of wheel spin on offer. Trust me on this, the feeling of driving this car is just something else. It just feels so connected to drive. Firstly, you sit so lower down now. There's always that feeling that you're driving something very special and sporty as well. Yeah, it is not the most stable at high speeds, moves around a bit because I think it could do with wider rubbers, but then that would just kill the mileage. The mileage is already killed although because of the headers and because of the way we are driving right now. It has a full system exhaust. Yeah, it has a full braking system exhaust, and because of which you can feel the loudness once you get into the higher end of the rev range. Post 4,000 RPM it becomes absolute bonkers, and honestly braking performance is just about average. It could do with better brakes without a doubt, but making maneuvers so easy because the steering feels so feelsome, so good, and so sure-footed as well. Like I was telling you about, the brakes could be a little bit better, although we don't have much weight to lug around. It does need sharper brake bite. Listen to the wheel spin. Okay, first gear, revving the motor, rev still 6,500 RPM. Crazy amount of wheel spin. The car keeps spinning its wheels all the time. There's so much wheel spin on offer. It's absolutely insane the amount of wheel spin which is there in this vehicle. And you know why there's so much wheel spin? Because the low end grunt is just fantastic from this motor. Now the mileage is between 8 to 10 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style. You can actually stretch this to around 13-14 kilometers per liter as well. Around the corners, you can feel the chassis has very little flex now because of the way the strut bars have been done. Now we are in 5th gear right now. I'll be very honest with you, the gear shifts are smooth, the clutch is also on the lighter side, but you know what, driving in 5th gear is no fun. I'm around 3,000 RPM at 100 kilometers per hour. Still, if I whack open the throttle, like full throttle, it will gain good momentum. So performance is really improved throughout the rev range. This car is producing, in stock it produces actually 94 horsepower and 130 Newton meters of torque. Now it's producing somewhere around 103 horsepower and 135 Newton meters of torque. But more than outright numbers, it's actually the way the car is able to pull throughout and improve the drivability, which is so fantastic. The ride is really very stiff now because obviously everything has been stiffened up, so you can feel it does move around a bit, especially over bad roads. You have to really slow down because you can feel a lot inside the cabin. So ride quality is far from being good, but you know what, that's something which is expected considering the suspension hasn't been changed. It's still using the stock suspension as such. But you know what, the best fun about this car is driving in 5th gear calmly, forgetting about everything in the world because it doesn't really make too much noise in 5th gear. It's very calm and composed in that sense. And then when you want to make a quick overtake, you will drop not 1, not 2, but 3 gears. So you don't really need to come into 3rd gear because again, the gearing is super tall. The gearing is so tall now, it's doing 100 kilometers per hour in 2nd gear itself. And when it's doing 100 kilometers per hour in 2nd gear itself, you're like, what is the need for me to actually be in a lower gear? I'll tell you why. Because that grunt is not there. You really have to get into a lower gear to get going quickly. Now, even in 5th gear at 60 kilometers per hour, engine feels composed. There's no knocking which is coming through. What could be better is the fueling. Okay, we did try a air fuel regulator. Unfortunately, it kept coming out again and again and again because it could not manage. So we need a better quality one. With that, overall performance will dramatically improve as well because these cars need the right fuel being mixed and being pumped into the system to really give you better performance. So right now I'm just driving in 5th gear, calmly cruising along. What I need to make a quick overtake is just a flex on my right foot. It will take some time. Car will start moving ahead. But what is better way of getting around is getting into 2nd gear and yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Drop a few gears, get into 2nd, vacuum in the throttle, and the urgency is absolutely insane. Now, it's not as fast as it feels because 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes around 9.75 seconds. So yeah, it's not very fast as such, but what is really exciting and what is phenomenal here is the fact that the feel it gives. The exhaust is really very loud. Oh my god, I feel like I'm driving a mini Formula 1 car, and that is a statement which seems to be exaggerated, but it's not. You need to experience this car to understand the pure feeling which you used to get back in the days is completely gone, finished, evaporated by Tata, nil, nada, zilch, shunya, everything. It's just gone because cars have become so much more like an appliance now, which is kind of unfortunate. That raw feeling which we so enjoyed in older cars just disappeared overnight. To ensure that the air fuel mixture is properly apt, we actually also got a race dynamics piggyback ECU, but unfortunately we were not able to know the AR values, actually the air fuel ratio values, AFR values we were not able to know, and then we had to take the ones from the from the Swift, which also uses the same engine as the S-Team, the G13B, this is the G16B, and we tried to mix and match. That really didn't work out well, so that is another hiccup which we faced in this car. However, that said, you know what, this car can be further tuned to improve the overall performance of it because we've made it a little bit more on the practical side where we are looking for performance which is daily usable, car which is not as loud to blow your ears, although in the top end you can feel a lot inside the cabin in terms of the sound. Now installation levels were not the best as such. Obviously it's not the best because they're an old car, so you can hear a lot of the road noise, the wind noise, the tire noise, all that you can hear, but that is actually what adds to the feel of the vehicle. The steering feels super duper awesome. The tuning of the overall system or the chassis and the suspension from Maruti was on the softer side, but because of the strut braces and of course this custom steering wheel, it feels really very agile. It feels really feelsome. The steering is so fantastic. It feels like a go-kart to drive. The feeling of driving this car is just unbelievably good. You sit so lower down now, you're like just in an entirely different league. There is no car in the current scenario which offers you the same level of feel as the old Baleno, and that's the reason why this was also popular in terms of rallying with enthusiasts and whatnot. And the new Baleno, where it's on the softer side, it doesn't have the same feeling. It should not even share the same name as the older Baleno because the older car is, I mean, you have to drive an old Baleno to understand. Now this is actually based on the S-Team chassis. Yeah, that's right. It is actually based on the S-Team chassis. The S-Team was a lovely car. I had 2 of them in my family. It felt so good to drive, but the Baleno feels even better to drive because of the added displacement. 1.6 litre engine, 1600cc, known as the G16B. Amazing. but because it doesn't have variable valve timing or variable valve control or anything of that sort, you know, actually going for performance headers did not make much of a sense. So our headers are more towards practicality, tuned for better low end and mid-range performance, and the headers make a big difference as well. They make a massive difference. In fact, other than the body, which is old, and some amount of rattles, this car feels flawless to drive. It feels fantastic. It feels something which, you know what, brings the raw and unadulterated feeling to you. Amazing. Come on, I need to drop a gear here into third gear. Immediately pulls in third gear as well, but because of the tall gearing now, first two gears are really like fast and fun. Doesn't drive really fast, but in third, fourth, fifth, it kind of drives slowly. It's not as fast to pick up pace, but then you can hold on to a red line. You can enjoy one gear so much now. You can actually launch this car in third, you can keep pulling it in third, keep pulling it in third, and reach a top speed as well, which is around 165 kilometers per hour. You can just imagine how wide the third gear is. It is absolutely insane how wide the third gear on this car is, or rather how tall gearing Maruti has done only for fuel efficiency purposes, which we've squashed right now by, you know what, tuning this for better performance and sound. Of course, the exhaust is actually not tuned for sound, it's tuned for performance. You can either tune the exhaust for sound or for performance. We obviously chose the latter because we want to go faster, and we can still go faster with this car. And in between, you were also thinking that what if we reduce the weight and remove the rear seats? We should have done that actually, because the rear seats are kind of useless in this car. Nobody's going to sit at the rear. There's no space on offer either. That jerkiness and vibration is just missing in this car. It feels so composed now. The engine just feels so different from what is a stock engine, just because of some minor mods to the motor. And of course, the massive difference comes from the air intake, because it's able to breathe better, it's able to exhale better. Just imagine if you're able to get better breathing and you have better fartability also. I don't even know if fartability is a word, but exhaust gases are able to pass out freely now because of the free flow exhaust. Remember one thing, free flow exhaust doesn't mean that the pipe has to be too big, because then there will be no back pressure. It just has to be of the right dimension, and in this car it has been tuned fantastically well. So guys, this is my vlog of the Maruti Baleno, the MotorBeam Project Car, the first generation, the OG, whatever you want to call it. It feels so good to drive. It's super fun, super engaging, and definitely a car which will put a smile on your face, although your face will be covered with a lot of sweat because the air conditioning doesn't work that great, unfortunately. But fortunately though, the performance makes you forget everything and more. If you like this vlog, make sure to give the thumbs up, like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video soon. Bye bye, take care.